Hi, welcome back to Conversations with Kanyomozi. I'm Lisa Kanyomozi Raboni, and before we begin off this vlog, I would like to shout out to Stella Nyanzi, guys. She was released last week and it's been a long journey. Shout out. Get a copy of her book No Roses From My Mouth. It's only at 30k, and support my queen beloved. Like, her words are everything. Moving on from that, happy Women's Month. Hope you're having an amazing beginning of March, and I would love for all the women to pay attention to these vlogs because our conversations are centered, like, priority is you and bettering you, bettering your friendships with other women, bettering your relationships with other women, bettering your the understanding of yourself. And today's topic is on shrinking ourselves. I read a book by Suleiman Adonia, which I think everyone should read. A very interesting read. It's Silence is My Mother Tongue is the title. A very interesting quote caught my eye and spearheaded this conversation. A woman is already forced to be invisible by men in our society, so she must amplify her contributions herself, no matter how small. And how I understood this quote is, very many times us being brought up as women and us growing in a society, we are told, you're too loud, you're too much, you're doing too much. Don't overly shout about that. People are gonna get scared. Oftentimes we're asked to shrink ourselves, make ourselves smaller so we can fit. A friend of mine, Yvonne, had an interview and she spoke about how she's a round block and trying to be fitted into squares and triangles, and that's how I often feel women are forced to be. And I'd like to explore different ways in which we embody this as women, and how we must unlearn shrinking ourselves and begin to take up space, because we are deserving of the spaces that we are in. To begin with, we're not good enough. Most of the time we think we're not good enough. We think we have to do more. We think we have to learn more. We think we have to understand more. We think we have to be more in order for our value to be seen. And it is important for us to learn that that's not necessarily how it should be. You are enough in your existence already. Remind yourself that every day. Even if you're not submitting societal standards of enough, you are enough in itself. Another one is modesty. I think I was about 10 years old and I'd get the cute compliments of, oh my gosh, you're so beautiful, you're so beautiful, you're so cute, and I was this high. And my an aunt of mine kept telling me, when people tell you you're beautiful, say you know. And my mother was like, no, that's rude. Don't say you know, pretend like it's something new every time everyone tells you this. And without knowing, my aunt was asking me to take away from modesty and accept who I am, what I look like, how I'm already naturally good at what I am. Accepting and taking space and owning without necessarily shrinking myself to pretend that I do not know these facts about myself is a way we can embody our greatness, I feel, and we stop shrinking ourselves to make people feel like they're telling us something new. Self-doubt. I'm a writer and for the longest time I wasn't able to share my work. I didn't open a blog, wanting to open a blog for 2 years before I actually opened it, because I didn't think my words were good enough. Despite having friends who had read my work privately and told me, oh my gosh, this is good, or your thoughts about this are very eye-opening, and so on, I just felt like my work wasn't good enough. Yet we often see ourselves working in spaces, and this is something we need to steal from men, literally, and grab it and take it on. Oftentimes we see ourselves working in spaces with men who might not necessarily be the best at something or good at something, but they either way, I will learn on that way, I will learn on the job. But we tend to want to always be perfect. I've seen instances where men get on shows and speak, and you're like, friend, your intellect is lacking. But in actual sense, women who are more capable might at times feel, I need to read more, I need to research more. Sis, take that position and act now. You will figure it out on the way eventually. Another thing is not owning spaces. When I began working in media, I remember being very grateful for being in certain spaces, being in certain rooms at the time that I was in these rooms. I'm not saying don't be grateful for being in these spaces, but I failed to take up my space and own my position because I felt I have to shrink myself, I have to act like I'm grateful and not take the power that I've been given. But that in itself takes away from the moment, and then you're not able to accomplish very many different things. I'd also like to speak about not being ambitious enough. For a long time, being too ambitious is unattractive to the male gaze, because what if he's not that ambitious, and then you scare him away? Friend. What's for you will come to you. Dream as high as you possibly can. Work towards achieving as much as you possibly can. Even if your portfolio is 10 pages long, it is well. Scare away as many people who are not worthy of your time, but be ambitious. Not owning how good we are, and this goes back to self-doubt. Even if you're not sure you're there yet, do it regardless. And be mindful to always check when you're shrinking yourself in different spaces. When you're asked to be loud, be a bit quiet. When you're asked to stop doing too much, when you're asked to do all these different things that are people who are uncomfortable with you owning space, don't shrink yourself this much, and remember to take this on in different aspects of your life. Thank you for watching Conversations with Kanyomozi. I'm Lisa Kanyomozi Raboni. Don't forget to like, comment, share with your friends, and also subscribe.